Hello YouTube, this is Charlie426, and today we have the review of the Robot Damashii Blue Destiny Unit 1 Ver anime. Yes, now this has finally arrived. Technically I did pre-order this, but oddly enough, I think Gundam-based Korea is really messing up a few things. Is that I pre-ordered the item, but they released it on their store first and then sent the pre-order items. The whole point of pre-ordering it, at least back then in Korean standards, was that once I pre-order, I should be able to get them first than the actual release, or at least this on the same day. At least I should be receiving it as release at least. But now it's totally become opposite. I have really nothing to say about it at this point. So let's see what we got. So the Robot Damashii line, I've been really enjoying it ever since they released the NT1 Alex. That was pretty much my introduction level to entering the Robot Damashii Ver anime line. Now, at least NT1 Alex had, it was in the anime, so we know what to, and you can actually really compare between the kit version and the Robot Damashii figure version. Now, in this case, Blue Destiny, at this point, if you've been in the Gundam fandom if you've been a Gunpla or Gundam fan for a while, you might have heard of it. You may have seen the model kits as well, but this thing has never actually had an anime. It had the manga of its own, but I believe there were two, the old one and the new remake one as well. So I think, first of all, based on what I've seen on the figure, what I've touched and seen so far, I think this is based on the original version, because the new version actually has a different style head. Well, if you bought the new HGUC Revive version, you can definitely see that it has a alternative head where it has like a side antenna. This one does not come with that, and like the kits, like the new version, you can see there's like opening vent. There's like certain thrusters would open up as well. This one does not have that. So my guess is that this is based on the original version of the manga. But other than that, let's see what we got. So as usual, being Robot Damashii, there are some very typical stuff. Let's get them over with. So first of all, what you get, of course, is obviously the unit itself. I absolutely love. I think they did a really good job on the proportions as well. I'm only regretting that because I moved out, I wasn't able to bring the HGUC versions to do a proper comparisons. But right off the bat, like looking outside, right off the box, it looks like it has really good proportions as well. The old HGUC version, definitely it was okay, but once again, there were some, it was a little bit sticker heavy, or had unnecessary stickers, and some parts of the proportion was a little bit wonky, and then they fixed that in the new version as well. So let's see what we get. So in terms of equipment, being the Blue Destiny Unit 1, or heck, even if it was the Unit 2 and 3, there shouldn't be anything too special in terms of equipment. Granted, on the HGUC version, the Blue Destiny Unit 3 came with an interesting weapon that, it never used in the original series. So, but that's a different story anyway. So let's see what we get. So let's go over the typical stuff. So right off the back box, you will get the multi-purpose hands attached to the figure. The other hands you'll be getting is a set of trigger fingers left and right. You'll get the beam saber holding handles. Now the difference between these and the ones that are currently attached to the figure is that the ones that are attached to the figure will hold the beam sabers in a more 90-degree angle. This one, if you hold it with these hands, it will be in a little bit more angled as well. And then we get the fully open hands and semi-open hands as well, and then the hand rack. So yeah, these are some, the hand rack itself is pretty typical, and these hands are pretty much basic standard hands at this point. Granted, there might be some other figures that may not have a certain type of hand, but you get my point. Now, I was not expecting this to come with two machine guns. So first we get the typical, the Gundam ground type or Gym ground type machine gun. We've seen these before. They work exactly the same. You have the folding stock, you have the second handle, and then you have the detachable magazines here as well. And then these magazines you actually have some spare on the side skirts. Yes, you can actually take those off and then attach them as well. So if you want to have like a reloading scene, you can do that as well. And they also give you this part, which is actually meant to store the machine gun onto its back, or I mean on the back of the side skirt. So you can connect it here, and then you can store it on the back skirt as well. So let me get this out of the way. And then we get this machine gun. Now this is a very typical machine gun that we usually see with the Gym command types as well, or Gym type Cs, or Gym So yeah, I did not expect this to actually they provide this. But once again, if you want to also store this on the back skirt, now you can't store both of them at the same time. You have to choose. So what you can do is that you can slap this on here. There we go, and then you can store this onto the back skirt. Now, because of this holster looking thing, it looks like it would have been much more cooler if you can actually store this onto the side of the leg or something like that, or on the side skirt, but oh well. And in this case, this one does not have a separate magazine part, so this is a whole, you know, chunk. All right, and then we get the typical gym ground type, Gundam ground type shield, but this is the Blue Destiny Unit 1 version, so it has a 01 on it, and it has all pretty much the same features where you can extend to do the shield bash or shield stabbing, and then we have this peg that can actually rotate, so you can actually have change in position, and you can actually store this onto the backpack. And then you get 2 beam saber hilts, but if you're going to display the beam sabers a lot, I do suggest you take them out, because the way how they're stored is that they're stored inside the legs, inside the figure, and I don't think these are made to be taken out by human hands. So get one of these things and then pull them out, and then store them in separately, because they do not come out easily. So you can't definitely grab them. So yeah, but you do get these beam sabers. So yeah. Alright, now let's talk about the effect parts. Now, one of the biggest difference between Robot Damashii and the Gunpla kits is that, you know, being the figure versus Gunpla model kit thing, you know, Robot Damashii provides a lot of good effect parts, or fun effect parts. Alright, so let's get over the typical ones first. So here we get the typical blue effect parts. Now, they might come in a little bit different other tones of blue, depending on my memory, but once again, this is like one of the more basic thruster shapes as well. For Federation mobiles, I believe the Xeon mobiles may have a different style, or usually are in red or orange. So yeah. Alright, and now let's look at the beam saber effect parts. Now we do get the more, you know, exaggerators, or like a little bit more intense beam effect parts. I do like these as well. Now, unlike certain mobile suits that would come with a longer version, you only get the 2 standard size versions as well. No big deal. And then we get the curved version as well. So this is actually, it looks really cool, and there's a lot of use for this, believe it or not. So yeah, I'm really glad they actually added this. And for the exam system, for those who don't know, Blue Destiny Unit 1 has a system called the exam system, which basically you know, boosts up its abilities, but once again, it does affect the pilot as well. So basically, depending on which version you saw, once the exam system activates, you get slightly like certain powers where you get the feeling or senses where you become like the mobile suit itself. So in the manga, there was a scene where there was a test pilot who was test piloting, and the exam system was activated, and it was attacking anybody, even Federation mobile suits. So the Federation mobile suit would fire, but instead of protecting the cockpit, he would act as if he was a mobile suit, so he was protecting the head, not the cockpit. So you can kind of see what I mean by there. And also, I believe you get a little bit of a new type senses as well, but once again, it really depends on which version you saw. So anyway, when the exam system activates, the visor goes red, everything goes red, like thrusters and such. So yeah, we get these 2 parts. Although a little bit more of a pinkish color rather than red, but you get my point. And we get these. These are the chest missiles. So once again, only the Blue Destiny Unit 1, as far as I know, has the wired ones. Unit 2 and 3 does not have any wired ones. So I'm not sure what's the point of having a wire in these type of things, unless these are supposed to be like guidance wires. So I've seen like this whole concept of wired like bombs and missiles being fired with a wire on them. So but I'm not sure if they actually exist in real life. So do tell me like if they do, and if they do exist in real life, what do these wires do actually? So yeah, we get 2 of them, and other than the wires, I'm not the biggest fan of these wires, because they in the long run become very messy and curvy. But these effect parts, the end-tip missiles, they did an extremely well done job, even with the thruster effects here. So very cool. And then finally, for the exam system, we get this part, the red visor part, with the head camera on top also being red. So yeah, you can swap this out pretty easily, which I'll demonstrate later. Alright, so let's see what we got in terms of the figure. So I won't be doing any comparisons at all, because once again, even though it's a comparison, you know, at this point you should know what to expect from this figure. So yeah. Alright, so let's start with the head top. Alright, so once again, proportions and color of the looks pretty good. The tone of blue also looks pretty good. Now on my camera, I'm not sure how you guys are taking it, but the blue on the body is a little bit darker than the camera that I see at the moment, so keep that in mind. So anyway, so let's look at the head. Now the head looks really good. The only, I would say, downside or that has the most different feel is the fact that you can see inside through the visor, and then the visor, behind the visor eyes are these two big eyes. So I think they show a little bit too much, but I think that's also pretty correct to the Blue Destiny Unit 1 as well. So anyway, looking up is also possible. I think that's all as far as you can go. Downwards, not so much. 360 should be possible as well. And then this, you can take this part off to reveal the inside. So even the eyes are silver. So if you want to go full exam mode, you can change the visor piece to the red one if you want to do so. I'm just gonna leave it like this, just for the sake of it. So yeah. All right, now let's get the arm. So one of the reasons I mentioned I think this is based on the old one or the original Blue Destiny is because for the new one, if you look at the HGUC kit, I believe they did base it on the new manga, but the old manga, when the exam system activates, the old HGUC would have just the typical shoulders. The new one, you can actually, I believe you can extend something here, and then on the backpack for the thrusters, you're supposed to be able to extend parts, or kind of like that in the HGUC kit. And even these thrusters would go down a little bit, but there is no such presence in this figure as well. So yeah. Alright, so arms can go 360, that's pretty typical. You can see the shoulder has the forward and backward movement a little bit, but you can also move the entire body itself like that for extra mobility. And going to the side is still the same, 90 degrees is possible. And then 360 is still there. And then going, there we go, 360 on the arm itself is a little bit possible, but not, just be careful where to move. So you can go there, you can kind of force it. I've actually forced it once, but definitely did not do a good thing. So 360, forcing it is possible, but once again, it's not recommended. So you do have the basic movement. It's just the reason why it's not going 360 like a typical mobile suit is just design is colliding here. So you can see that because of this extra bulk here, it's not actually kind of blocking it twice. So forcing it is possible, but you do not want to force anything at all at the first place. And then arm wise, you do get a very nice bend, more than 90 degrees as well. And hands are your typical robot Damashii hands, where there we go, the ball joint is on the hand, unlike Gunpla where the ball joint is on the sorry, let me rephrase that. So robot Damashii hands are where the ball joint is on the arm and the hole is in the hand. Well, Gunpla is that the ball joint is in the hand and then the hole is in the arm. So they're kind of opposites as well. And they did a pretty good job improving the overall strengths of these ball joints. So because back then they were very difficult to apply, very difficult to detach or attach, but now they found the right, size, I think. Alright, now for one of the unique features, or one of the features in the Blue Destiny Unit 1 is that, or 2 and 3, is that on the body they have some built-in weapons, like these machine guns as well. So they work pretty well. And then you have these white parts are those wired missiles. So you can take these parts off. I'm just going to show you guys an example. You take that part off, and then you're supposed to be able to slap these wires on like that, and there you go, you fire them. Now as far as I know, depending on the game or anime or scene you've seen, I don't think they fire this like straight like that. So they kind of go outwards and then fire like that. So they would go like this. So yeah, something like that. So once again, it does hold on, but once again, the overall shaky part is a little bit awkward. And then eventually these wires are going to look very, very messy, because making them go back straight is very difficult, and the more you use it, the more curvy it gets. So yeah, just be aware of that aspect. So I'm just gonna take that out for reference. All right, so let's get the body movement. So body movement, you do get a small ab crunch going on here, going 360. Now by looking at the waist design, you would think it could go 360, but once again, that's not the case, because you can see the back section is colliding as well. So yeah, 360 is no go on that. And looking at the backpack, a very simple looking backpack. Now kit wise, if I ever do get the Unit 2 and 3, or one of those two, I would expect that the new backpack would be just slapped on here, because I believe the kit wise, they still actually have this backpack, and then you attach the new backpack here. So I wonder if they're gonna still keep that as well. And once again, nothing here. And you can see a square hole. This is where you store the shield. So just to give you guys a quick example, you can see there's a square peg, square hole. It's not rocket science, just. And once again, it's not loose at all. So once again, this is like one of the best connections I've had, because previously, sometimes these kits, to store the shield into the back, they would give you a separate adapter, and that would always fail or get loose. But this one, very stable. And then for storing the weapons, this is the part where you can open up on the back skirt if I can. There we go. It's opening bit by bit. There we go. So this is the part where you connect the plus shaped peg here and to choose which machine gun to store. Alright, and then waist movement, you can go side to side as well. And then here are the extra mags, once again detached, and use them on the gun if you want to do so. So I'm just going to take that off for reference. And then front skirts, once again, goes up or forward. Back skirt does not move at all. So going 90 degrees to the front leg is possible. Bend wise, yes, we get the double jointed bend, or we do get more than 90-degree bend, so no big deal. And I've already mentioned the beam saber storage here. Now, at first, this whole part might be stiff. Actually, it took me a little bit of strength to actually pull this out, so do be careful when you open this as well. And then once again, foot guard seems no big deal. And then on the feet, there's no thrusters on the feet itself, because Blue Destiny Unit 1, as far as I remember, is not meant for space. You can't use this in space, only meant for ground operations. Unit 2 and 3 are the ones that you could use in space, if I remember correctly. And then feet can go upwards as well. Now, because of this whole ankle guard, it looks a little bit awkward, but yeah, that's just a big giant ankle guard as well. And then you do get some decent pivot joints. Not the greatest, but once again, it gets the job done. And as you can see, you get a toe bend, although the toe is a little bit big, but you get my point. Alright, we've seen the basics of the figure. So once again, it has all the standard articulation of a typical modern robot Damashii for anime. Let's see what we got in terms of posing and other effect parts. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So here we have the first demonstration here. So here we have the wired guided missiles, or if it's that what it's called. So once again, I tried to go for the ones I've seen so far. So where they would shoot from, they wouldn't come out directly. They would go from the side first. So that's what I was trying to do as well. And once again, the wires do a good job. But once again, I do have the issues where the end tip of the missiles is trying to go a little bit downwards a bit. So I constantly need to make them go up. Once again, it does get the job done, but once again, if there's a different material, I've seen some people using copper wire, a little bit more of the thicker ones, so that might be a better choice of materials maybe in the future. But once again, it gets the job done, so I have no complaints here. And once again, you can store both the machine gun and the shield at the same time. And since we do get 2 trigger finger hands, yes, dual wielding the machine guns is also a possibility, because I do know, like Gunpla, for example, they really don't give out the second trigger finger here for the left hand. So yeah, doing this in front of camera is a little bit tricky, but once again, you can dual wield 2 machine guns if you want to do so. So it is possible, because Gunpla, they don't getting a left trigger finger hand from the kit is very rare as well. So far, maybe I know like maybe 1 or 2 kits that actually come with that, but other than that, yeah. Alright, so we've seen the first demonstration, so I'll be right back with the second demonstration. Okay, so here's the final demonstration here. I just brought out the efreet custom in this exam mode. Once again, I think they did a really good job with the exam mode with those extra flaming effect parts. Unlike the Blue Destiny Unit 1, sure, it's Unit 1, it's supposed to be a simple type mobile suit. It's a simple design, so once again, I attached the red visor here, so once again, attaching it should be no problem. And I have on the back is the special red thrusters for the exam mode. And even with the thruster, you could still store in the machine gun onto the back skirt. Although one thing I've noticed is that every time I try to like touch or something, I usually knock off the magazine, so do be careful where to hold it. And overall, it works very well. So yeah, that is pretty much it for the review. So once again, if you want to have a much more angled grip, so you can always use the other hand. I'm using this multi-purpose hand for the straight grip going on here as well. And so that is pretty much it for the review. So this was the review of the Robot Damashii Blue Destiny Unit 1 ver anime. So once again, it's a really good kit. So if you're a big fan of the unit and you already have the kits and you want something more, definitely get the Robot Damashii version. And once again, at worst, you can end off your collection like this, or you might continue with Unit 2 and 3 in the future. But once again, those are, Robot Damashii aren't exactly the cheapest, figure line, so do at your own will. But anyway, I personally like the figure. It came with all the necessary stuff, although I do wish they, I don't know, would have done something a little bit for the exam system. Maybe some sort of a, glare effect, or maybe more firing parts as well, but that's just my opinion. But once again, I am very satisfied with the figure, so I do not regret my purchase. Anyway, thank you for watching the review. If you guys got any questions or requests, leave a comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build and make reviews out, so please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time.